You know that search bar you use every single day? Well, most of us are barely scratching the surface of what's possible. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain and go way beyond that blinking cursor to explore the hidden world of high-stakes search, where finding the right answer can literally change everything. Look, it's a problem we all have, right? There's an endless ocean of information out there. So how do you find what's actually real, what's actually reliable? Well, it turns out the pros don't just search. They have entire systems, whole philosophies, dedicated to answering that exact question. For instance, think about medical research. When a life is on the line, you can't just leave things to chance. It demands this incredibly rigorous scientific process, a system built for certainty. But for an intelligence analyst, it's more of an art. It's about finding secrets that are hiding in plain sight and connecting dots that absolutely no one else can see. And then you have this third, totally different world of decentralized systems, like cryptocurrencies. Here, the whole idea of a single, central source of truth just gets thrown out the window. Truth isn't found, it's actually built and verified piece by piece across a global network. There's no gatekeeper. All right, so let's just start by shattering the illusion of that simple little search bar. The way we search every day is a million miles away from how experts find information when the stakes are sky high. I mean, the difference in scale here is just wow. In everyday search, it takes maybe 10 seconds, and we're looking for an answer that's good enough. But a professional systematic review, that can take over 100 hours. The goal isn't just good enough, it's finding everything, using a method so precise that anyone else on the planet could repeat it and get the exact same results. It's actual science. So that brings us to our first secret world, the precise science of systematic searching. This was really pioneered in fields like medicine, where, missing just one study could have life or death consequences. Now, the full process can have like 15 steps or more, but it really all boils down to these 4 things. You focus, you build, you optimize, and you document. You start with a laser-focused question, build a search strategy around it, and then tweak it for total completeness. But that last step, documenting everything, that's the secret sauce. That's what makes it science. And this all comes down to a really crucial balancing act. Think of it this way. High sensitivity is like casting a massive fishing net. It's designed to catch every single relevant article, even if it means you pull in a ton of junk along with it. High specificity is the opposite. It's about trying to avoid that junk, but the risk is you might let some important fish swill right by. In those life or death reviews, the goal is always maximum sensitivity. You'd rather sort through a mountain of junk than miss one single breakthrough. So how do you actually achieve that? Well, you can't just type in a few keywords. You have to learn to speak the database's native language. There's this whole hidden grammar of special commands and operators. It's how you go from just hoping for an answer to truly engineering one. Here's a super simple but really powerful example: truncation. Instead of searching for education, and then educating, and then educated, a pro just types educat with a little asterisk at the end. The database automatically finds every possible ending for that word. It's a huge time saver. And this is where things get really cool. A proximity operator lets you search for words that are near each other, not just in an exact phrase. So a search for patient N2 education is incredibly powerful. It'll find education for the patient or patient-centered education, all these variations that a simple search in quotes would totally miss. Okay, let's switch gears completely. If systematic reviews are the science of finding every documented fact, then our next world is all about the art of finding secrets hidden in plain sight. Welcome to the realm of open source intelligence, or OSINT. And OSINT is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's about gathering intelligence, not from some classified, top-secret documents, but from the massive ocean of public data that's already out there. We're talking social media, public records, satellite images, news reports. If it's public, it's fair game. And the toolkit these folks use is just wild. Google Dorking is basically using super advanced search commands to find stuff that shouldn't be public, like sensitive files or login pages. Shodan is like a search engine for the internet itself. You can find unsecured webcams, servers, even industrial control systems. And then tools like Maltego and Spiderfoot are master dot connectors, automatically building these huge maps that show the relationships between people and websites and data. And don't for a second think this is some niche hobby. The ability to find and analyze public info is a massive, nearly $30 billion industry.
It's used by huge corporations, governments, and security professionals all over the world.
So, we've seen the scientific search, and we've seen the artistic hunt for clues. That brings us to our last world, which asks a totally different question. What if, instead of just getting better at finding a central source of truth, we got rid of the need for one altogether? Think about it like this. A centralized system is like a shared folder on an office server. Everybody needs it, and if that one server goes down, the whole system just grinds to a halt. A decentralized or peer-to-peer network is totally different. Every person, every node, talks directly to every other one. There's no single point of failure. In a system like Bitcoin, this is exactly how information travels. A transaction isn't sent to a central bank, it's just broadcast out to the whole network. It spreads like a ripple from peer to peer to peer until it's picked up, verified by the network, and locked into a permanent, shared record. The truth is simply whatever the network collectively agrees it is. So, a doctor's systematic review, a spy's OSINT hunt, and a crypto network's consensus. What on earth could these three things possibly have in common? Well, they all replace a simple, hopeful search with rigor, precision, and this core idea of sourcing information as broadly as you possibly can. Because at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. It's not just about finding piles of data. It's about having a reliable process that can turn all that raw data into something you can actually act on. Whether that's a new medical treatment, a critical security assessment, or globally verified transaction. And that really leaves us with one big question. In an age of AI and deep fakes, where it's easier than ever to create information that looks totally real but is completely fake, is learning how to search systematically, how to verify sources, and how to understand the very structure of information, is that becoming the most essential skill we have? Something to think about. Thanks for joining me.